guys. Chet the Dream Poet here, coming to you all from the Cherokee National Forest along the Ocoee River. And behind me, guys, is Ocoee Dam number 2. A beautiful piece of construction that was built in 1911 by the East Tennessee Power Company. You see, for many, many years, people knew, especially engineers and architects, that there was potential along the Ocoee River. Mastering a sheer amount of power coming from Mother Nature herself. In 1913, East Tennessee Power Company merges with other companies and it becomes the Tennessee Electric Power Company. Now, with the construction of this particular company and what would later follow, this is why we are here in the mountains today. You see, guys, there is a ghost town along the Ocoee, and that ghost town went by the name of Caney Creek Village. You see, Caney Creek was constructed in 1913 to house the families of those working on these marvels of ingenuity. So you guys, we are going to go find Caney Creek Village today and what is left of it. But before I do that, I do want to talk a little more about the history here. In 1911, Ocoee Dam number 1 was constructed. That is what created Parksville Lake. Parksville Lake is not a natural lake system. But today, you guys, we are going to Caney Creek. Let's do it. Anchor down. Alrighty, you guys, we are finally here at the first takeout in this area. Now, the reason why we are here is because in order to get to Caney Creek, we must go across the river right there. As you all can tell, the water is quite down today. Now, I know my camera is not the most well balanced today, but that's okay. It's really beautiful out here. Whew. And I am also getting in my workout. You see, even though the water is down, and maybe, just maybe, it is only about a foot deep, still, do not take these kind of rivers for granted, because you could still wind up dead. Which, as I say, if anyone's gonna do this, do it with a life vest. Do it with other friends. That's my personal recommendation. And now we are finally across the river. It does appear that a tree is down. So I guess from here, you guys, I guess this is where we walk. Okay, that should be safe. Okay, normally this is the entry point to Caney Creek Village, the ruins. Anyway, this piece of wood right here, this used to be the trolley bridge that used to run right across the creek. You see, this trolley, which was a small cartoon trolley, it was powered by 2 inbound batteries. It would take people to and from town, to the valley below, and it would also take workers to the dam sites. Now, when Caney Creek Village was abandoned in the 1930s when TVA merged with the Tennessee Power Company. Well, they ripped it all up, which is very sad. Honestly, it would have been such an interesting piece of history. Now, the only thing left is a little trail that leads to a few ruins. You know, it's so interesting how time and nature can just eat everything and devour it within such a short time. And why I say that is that because Caney Creek Village was more than just your little hobo engineer working village. This village had electricity, it had sidewalks, it had working water, it had a tennis court, it had a one-room schoolhouse, and it had a hotel, it had a store. Caney Creek was a natural city within the mountains of nowhere. At one point, Caney Creek was even featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not, because it was considered to be the only city without horses or cars running through it. Now y'all are probably wondering, did that mean the villagers and workers in this area did not have cars? They did, but it was attached to the other side of the river. And actually, speaking of that, there was one death in the city. You see, the two trolley cars that were running through town, there was a gentleman who got caught between the two cars. It crushed him and it killed him. Some people even say his ghost still haunts these woods, but I don't know what to think about that. And here we have finally come across our first remnant of Caney Creek. Here is a smokestack, a fireplace, chimney. You gotta think, at one point there was a house attached to this fireplace, but now it's just falling to the wayside and being overtaken by Mother Nature once more. Okay, now one of the things that we are going to look for is the foundation that is believed to be the hotel. And this is it. This is believed to be the hotel, or I should say the remnants of the hotel. Now, the hotel was not meant for visitors. No, it was actually meant for investors coming into this area to check out their investments, and the families of the workers and the workers themselves that were waiting for housing. And really, this is all that's left. And you got to think, how many people, how many lives walk down these stairs? It's very eerie if you think about it. And now, what used to be a basement is just a plot of land for trees. Trees that honestly have to at least be 20 or 30 years old. Gotta think that these were just seedlings when this thing was beginning to return to the earth. You see some pylons, supports, what used to be from a bygone era. And I do believe this must be the fireplace, or at least the foundations of the fireplace. Or I'm guessing anyway. That looks like another stairwell. Or a storeroom. And not far from the hotel foundation does believe, or what I do believe, is a well. Definitely seen some better days. Now, as I mentioned, Caney Creek Village did have a working water system. Yes, actually the water that runs along the Ocoee River, that was too cold to drink. Or I should say, too cold to bathe in. So they had their own water heating system. And that is not far from where we're going, but I wanted to show you all this next. This is another foundation to one of the houses. And, well, just some examples of what people that have come out here have found. Relics from a bygone era. Honestly, that is an old school light bulb. An old Coke bottle, if you will. Things that hands have not touched in over 100 years. And it looks like those are cables. I wonder if these cables are a part of the trolley system. Or maybe a part of the, well, electricity, the power lines that used to run through here. Now, I mean, I'm just looking at all the other stuff. Like this pottery right here. Just look at how old that is. That pottery is at least 100 years old. Or from the 30s and the 40s. And you do not see soda bottles like that anymore. Honestly, this is stuff that my grandparents and my great-grandparents probably would have used at one point. And it does appear that there is another well. Oh well. And it does appear that we do have another foundation. Again, lost to the ferns and lost to time. Just an empty hole in the ground. Again, another entrance to the cellar. It's very eerie. Very eerie. Reminds me a lot of Elkmont. Elkmont is in the Smokies, and that was a logging town that eventually dried up when the government took over the area. Huh. More bottles. More ceramics. But all of this is just so very interesting, and it looks like we have some more Coke bottle products. And again, I believe that's a part of the chimney. And another pylon. But what I'm really curious about is this wiring right here. Could this be leftovers from the trolley system, the tram that used to run throughout town? I don't really know. But that does look like a water heater. And well, that's not natural, so we're gonna keep on walking. I do like that though, that is pretty neat. Well, you all are probably wondering why the Tennessee, or I should say the East Tennessee Power Company, chose to harness the Ocoee's power supply back in the 1910s. Well, it was because that a little town called Chattanooga, Tennessee was growing. Chattanooga, Tennessee is about 30 minutes west of here. This growing, sprawling town needed power. And this is where these investors came in, and that's when they took control of the Ocoee. It's kind of interesting. I don't think people realize why these dams are here. It's not just for the area in general. Even to this day, it still powers an entire city. And not far from here, it is another foundation. Again, I'm kind of wondering now if maybe these were the homes of the families, quite possibly. Because originally Caney Creek Village housed about 16 different families from all different walks of life. And that's kind of what I'm wondering, what I'm finding right now. But again, the trees have taken over. This place has been void of life since the 1940s. And after doing some walking, we have found another piece of foundation that's right over there. But what I am particularly interested about is whatever this structure is right here. Does look like it is a remnant of one of the houses. Stuff that is forgotten about, or at least what I'm guessing. I imagine this is where one of the houses stood. Okay, there is one more thing I wanted to find while I was here, and I do believe I found it, and that is the water treatment plant, or I should say system, that Caney Creek Village had. And it is this right here. This entire treatment system powered 16 homes, purified drinking water, made everything clean and safe, pure. For example, even 100 years later, that water is still relatively clean. And these pipes, being about 80 to 100 years old, they still don't look all that rusted. But this is an incredible find, incredible piece of history. And it's all situated in the middle of nowhere. All right, you guys, this is going to be another vlog for today. Caney Creek is something that I've known about for a while now. However, I was not able to visit it while I was in the state of Florida. But this place, even though there's not a whole lot left, it is still baffling that an entire city existed where we're standing now. A city with 16 families, a thriving community, one church, one schoolhouse, water treatment facility, electricity, a tennis court even. However, all that is gone. But you guys, remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. That always goes to show that y'all care. It means a lot. Keep on liking, keep on sharing. I'm not that far from 500 subscribers, you guys. Thank you all so much for making this possible. I love you all very much. Vlog over.